Welcome to Three Voices Unfiltered, where no topic is off limits and everything gets real. Join us,
Ronisha,
Theresa,
Suzanne, as we dive into hot topics, share our wildest experiences, and bear our honest opinions and thoughts. Buckle up, because with us it's always raw, always vibrant, and absolutely unfiltered.
I have one that's really funny. You might have it already.
Okay, go ahead.
In Denmark, you have to name your child from a pre-approved list of 7,000 names.
What?
Otherwise, it's illegal.
Oh, I did
wow.
not read that one. Interesting.
Oh, I didn't read that one either.
That's interesting.
Okay.
You have to follow a baby naming guideline.
Wow.
Otherwise, you are breaking the law.
Well, 7,000 names.
So what if I want to name my child
let me see this.
Pookie? It's not on the
I
list.
can't do it. So let me see. Talking about names, there's one. Is it in France? Did you know the one I'm getting ready to say about France?
No.
Mm-mm.
Let me see if I see it.
I mean,
Oh yeah, it's illegal to name your pig Napoleon.
Oh yeah, okay, because he was a French monarch.
It says any higher officer like that, you cannot use their names for an animal.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's okay.
I mean, it's weird. It's weird, but
I
okay.
can name my dog with what I want to name my dog.
That's funny. At least they give you 7,000 names in that country.
Yeah, but I bet you they don't have Ronisha in Denmark. What would my parents have called me?
Well, let me tell you something. Speaking of dogs, since we brought dogs up, so in Italy, you have to provide a sample of your dog's poop.
What? I did not know.
Okay, because you have to clean up, the poop. And if they, so you have to register.
Oh my gosh.
And they locate you, they'll locate the owner, and the owner will be fined.
So they're spending taxpayers' money to process dog feces.
Yeah, because look at Italy. It's a beautiful, clean
I can
country.
see that. Yeah, that's.
They want to keep it clean.
Yeah.
And people are irresponsible with their dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So their sanitation department has to go around and they see, dog poop. They're going to test it.
And they process it.
And if
That's
it's
funny.
yours, you're
get
going to
fined.
get in trouble.
You're going to be fined.
That's funny. Okay.
So it makes them accountable for their animals.
It does. And you know what? They probably don't even process it. It's probably to scare people to pick up the poop.
That's true.
That might be the case.
That's true.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about Greece. Okay.
I have
Greece.
one for Greece.
You got
Let's see
one for
what you
Greece?
have.
Okay. For Greece, it's illegal not to vote, or you will be fined.
I like
so
that.
you
I like that.
have to vote.
I like
that.
that. We should have that.
We should have.
You have to vote.
Mm-hmm.
You have to.
So that's not really weird, That's
not weird.
I
That's good.
like that. That's a good one. Because
Mhm.
you should vote. Why wouldn't you?
Okay, what do you have?
What's your Greece one?
You can't wear high heels in Greece.
Yep,
The
I have
historic
The,
parts.
the roads, right?
The
It has
historic
to-
parts of Greece are
Yeah.
prohibited to wear high heels.
Interesting.
In the ancient locations, Greece is
Mhm.
like an ancient city. And you could damage the streets and some other things. So you are barred from wearing high heels.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I do have one for Greece. Another one for Greece is that all medications that has codeine in it is illegal.
Oh gosh, what happens when you have surgery?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Oh, wow.
Because it's a pretty addictive drug. So
That's a good one.
All right. So, this one, Suzanne, I did see this one. This one in Switzerland, it's illegal to flush your toilet after 10 p.m. in an apartment building to promote a quiet environment.
wow.
But let me tell you.
After 10?
But let me tell you. Okay.
Tacos and
No.
Let me tell you this. So I was on TikTok and I wanted to know. I was on TikTok and I was like, is it? Come on now, right? And so you got your comments in there saying, oh, that's not true, and I'm gonna flush or whatever. Well, you know what? They might just be, people that just don't follow the rules. I don't know. But it's just interesting. I thought that was interesting. So if you live in an apartment building, and it's an apartment building, I guess you can flush it in your own home,
Okay.
If you're in an apartment building, you can't flush, your toilet after 10 p.m.
Yeah, I can see that.
I could see like living in an apartment building. before.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think people's toilet flushing bothered me as much as their walking or
and
running.
feeding,
Yeah, music that
I
bothered me.
could
Yeah,
never
toilet
live
flushing.
in another apartment.
I
love
could
being in
never.
a house.
I need to have my own
I can't
individual
live-
dwelling.
I have to.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Because I tell people all the time, I said, all I hear is birds outside. I hear the birds singing.
I know.
I
whatever.
don't want to hear anything.
Once you
That's
get
all
up
I hear.
home, you don't want to go back to that.
No.
Nope.
I couldn't.
You
I
don't.
could. Let me not even. I
I
could
mean,
if I had to.
if you
but
Yeah,
I don't
to.
want to.
Okay. I was saying, listen,
I don't want to.
I was in between houses, right? So I had sold one house, getting ready to buy another house, but I had ruptured my Achilles tendon, so I'm like, whatever. I couldn't go nowhere. Well, I lived in a 1-bedroom apartment and put my stuff in storage. I was happy.
You were?
Yes. First of all,
Oh,
let's
wow.
complain. I was I was really happy because it was a smaller space, you know, and I guess maybe because I wasn't really mobile, you know, because I had a cast on my leg or something like that, you know. But my thing was, I was like, okay, I was really okay.
But it was the space you were okay.
It was the space that I was
I
okay.
could do
It was
small.
the space that I was okay.
Downstairs or upstairs?
It was on the first floor.
First floor.
Which was good. It was on the first floor, and they had just renovated that apartment. Okay, they renovated the apartment. It was like brand new, everything in there, and I was really comfortable.
Okay.
with
I think
guys,
a
you
small
know.
space is different than in an apartment building. Right.
Well, this was
I
a
could do
complex.
small.
Well, this was
I just don't want neighbors.
I know
that
what you mean.
Touch
Oh,
walls.
yeah.
But see, this was different because this
I
was
don't
a
want
this was a complex. It was only 2 floors with multiple buildings.
Okay.
All right. So, but I didn't hear any noise, you know, from the upstairs people. If it was up there, but guys, full disclosure, I was only there 3 months.
Right.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. I could do that.
I couldn't
but
do it.
I want
Sold my house
I
and
was
moved into a new house.
I
can do
What
it.
else you got there? Oh, so let me. I'm looking
got
at it.
one,
I'm
too.
reaching over
Oh,
her.
no, it's fine.
I
So
got one
this
that's
is-
really good.
Go ahead.
And we have an episode about aging
Let me
and
take this
taking
off.
care of aging parents.
Mhm.
There's a law in China. There's an elderly rights law where you have to go visit the elderly in your family.
Oh, wait, so they can tell on you. That's, I guess, how that law would be enforced.
No word on how often or what that means, but you have to go, and they
Can't abandon them.
can report you, and you can be arrested.
Wow.
These are the 2 that I found fun.
Okay.
Okay.
What are
I
they?
really like this one. So in Samoa, a Polynesian country, forgetting your wife's birthday is considered a crime that can lead up to 5 years in prison or a fine.
I like it. I like
I like it.
it. You know, we have an American Samoa. You know, we have some land that's American.
We
that's
do.
Samoa.
Mm-hmm.
You can't forget your wife's birthday.
That's good.
I like
agree.
these laws that are taking care of people, like the one that you read, taking care of the elderly, taking care of your wife. Like, this is great.
Voting. The one about voting, yeah. Making people responsible.
But it says this is the law is intended to preserve marital harmony. We don't want people fighting, and who knows how many murders have been. Like, this is, I'm the crimey, right? The crime junkie here. How many, honestly, there's probably, I'm not even going to say probably, there's murders, let's say probably just to keep myself safe, that people kill somebody because they forgot their birthday. Mm-hmm. Don't you think that would have happened?
I'm sure
it's happened.
I'm sure it could have happened. Yeah.
Yeah, they forgot the original fight.
did,
The
it was
root of
crazy.
the fight was you forgot my birthday. Next thing you know, somebody's dead.
Something happened.
I think it may be the catalyst, but maybe some deeper issues.
Definitely.
Okay.
But I understand what you're saying, though, Suzanne.
Like,
okay, now I'm mad because
this
you
is
missed my birthday.
chocolate, not vanilla. Get my gun.
Oh my gosh. But it's true. Okay, this one I found really interesting.
Okay.
It's in Japan.
Ooh.
This will really get us here in the US.
Mm-hmm.
It's illegal to be overweight.
Mm-hmm.
Citizens
that
are
one.
required to stay under specific waist size.
And I think in Japan, I know why. They're smaller spaces. They have a huge, like,
overpopulation.
Yeah.
Issues.
So they say, and I noticed some facts about it just to find, like, explore, like, why do they not like overweight people? It says that Japan's metabolic law, and I might be mispronouncing that, passed in 2008, established the weight size guidance for adults between 40 and 74. So if you're younger than 40 and older than 74, it doesn't apply to you from what I'm from reading this. To help you reduce obesity weights. So men, and then it has the inches and all that, that's not important. But the consequences are that people who exceed these guidelines are required to attend counseling and support sessions. If they don't lose weight after 3 months, they may be given a dieting guidance. And for employers, companies, and local governments that don't meet specific targets can face financial penalties. So they even involve employers.
Oh, wow.
And,
It's the employer's fault, because typically in that culture they work for their family members and aunts and uncles, and so.
So I guess we're trying to keep a healthy, because a lot of health issues do come from weight. So they're trying to establish kind of like, if one thing they can possibly you can't control diabetes. If it's genetics, like me, like diabetes and high blood pressure, you can't control that sometimes because of genetics, but you can control or maintain it or stabilize it with weight.
And they eat pretty clean. I mean, look, they eat fish and rice. But what about the sumo wrestlers?
I know, right?
Maybe they can put a career, like, it's my career or something.
Yeah, maybe it's a career clause for the sumo wrestlers, because they're huge.
That is really
That's
crazy.
crazy.
Let's talk about this. Imagine if that law came into effect in the U.S.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness.
It would be full of fat people.
Well, the thing about, but I'm going to tell you something. Go ahead, sorry.
No, that they can be overweight.
Can or can't?
Cannot.
Yeah, cannot.
Yeah, we could not be overweight. That would be an
Would
uproar.
be
there's so many things they would have to change. They would have to change the way they farm, okay? The way they process food, the things that they put in food and stuff like that, because that's a big one.
Fast food.
Fast food, you know.
So I think our economy would plummet.
That's what I'm saying, because America is, like, the things that we do is always based on money and not health. And not, anything related to being wellness. So all those industries would go down.
Yeah, they will be
lobbyists
saying like, it will be all top. Yeah,
they're not
scandalous. They're not gonna happen.
I tell you that, because then that will lead into the pharmacy industry. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, in medical industry, and that people want to make money.
People want to make money.
Yeah.
I mean, talking about this. I guess the ones that will be making money would be these drug companies that are making the weight loss.
The weight loss drugs. Look at that is huge right now.
Wow. It's always some type of fad going on in this country.
And what is it? Ozempic,
and there's another one.
There's another one. Yeah.
Wegovy.
That's it.
Wegovy.
Okay.
Ozempic, and there's a third one.
And I have not done any research on this, but I believe that those drugs are expensive.
They are expensive.
Okay.
They are. But people are willing to get
them. Supply and demand, as demand keeps going up, they're going to go up.
Right.
When Oprah came out and said that she was on them, they really went up.
Yeah, because the thing about it is that those drugs were not for weight loss. They were supposed to be for diabetes. You know, I don't know which one. Type 1 or 2. But they're supposed to help with diabetes, but then I guess the side effects,
weight loss.
It's weight loss, and then
interesting.
Wow.
So bad.
But anyway, I just think there are some laws that are in other countries that we could piggyback off of.
Yeah, true. I agree.
To be serious, I know it's supposed to be about funny, crazy, and weird, but just to be serious,
There are some laws that have to do with health. It has to do with product ingredients that are better in Europe than here. There's a lot of ingredients that they don't allow in their products that we
Yeah,
allow.
that we allow. I think
And
we could do better.
we could do better.
We should have more
Yeah.
laws regulated about what they put in our food,
Yes.
our medication.
Yep.
The FDA could do a lot better.
Especially the FDA.
The FDA don't care.
Yeah.
Like I did research this a while back, a few years ago, and like our makeup, and it's just if you really dig deep, it's gross.
I believe it. I mean, because makeup, when I stopped wearing makeup, my skin improved. There was so much junk in that makeup.
So no animal byproducts, and I mean, we're getting off topic. That's a great
No,
idea
but
though,
yeah.
for another podcast.
I stopped wearing makeup,
But
and
yeah.
my skin got so much better.
Things that we ingest, like one thing, I know we're going down a rabbit hole. We'll catch back up, but real quick.
It's a good hole.
Like fragrance. I buy these fragrance plugins, and I ran out, and a couple times went on the app to reorder the refills, and twice I was in there and I couldn't do it, and I thought, I just don't want these fragrances in my home. I like the way they smell. I like my house to smell good.
Yeah.
So I researched it really quickly this
Parfum.
week actually, and they're toxic. And I said, no, I'm going to go back to my diffusers, which I have a diffuser going on now, pure essential oils, and there should be a law against manufacturers giving us so much toxins.
That's why I make my own candles. I don't know if you knew.
Yeah, I make my own.
I have my own candles because they put so much stuff. I used to love that. I'm not going to say the company. But I used to love those candles. And I'm like, I read the ingredients.
The
Like,
wicks
so
are bad. But I make my own personal products. My deodorant, lip balm, sometimes face cream. If not, I buy everything that's natural. Anyway, let's go back to
one of the things that, and I'm not talking about anything specific, if you can think of a lot that comes to mind, on this topic, that'll be fine. But when you talk about the different laws or different things that are illegal, do you have questions sometimes about the punishment?
Yes.
Yeah.
In other words, does the punishment
fit the crime?
Fit the crime.
Yeah. That happens now with anything, actually, any crime. Sometimes you hear, somebody committed this exact same crime, pretty close circumstances, and one person gets these many years, and this, you know what I'm saying? It's like it's not a fair system.
Yeah,
it's not a fair system.
Yeah, I think about the one thing that happened recently, here in the United States, was there was a recent school shooting, and so not only did the child get arrested and charged, the parent did as well. You know what I mean?
Which I agree. I agree about holding parents more responsible. Maybe we have a podcast on this.
That's a
because
good
if they're
one to
underage
discuss,
and you purchase this gun for your child, you should be held liable.
Yeah, I like that. Let's leave that one for a podcast, and we'll actually discuss that crime, that incident.
That'll be
That's a good one.
And we can probably,
and you don't like crime, so
let's do that one.
And we probably
do that one.
And we probably can preface it with talking about just how laws are made, because we have a lot of ignorant people that does not. When I say ignorant, that means you just don't know how.
You said idiots, because you remember there's a law about idiots.
I'm talking about ignorance. Now I'm talking about ignorance. The way they don't know how in the
you don't
United
have
States
any
of
knowledge.
Yes,
Yeah.
That
Idiots don't either.
ignorant don't have to be a bad word. I'm telling you.
It's not.
But they don't.
It's not.
They really just don't understand. How laws are made.
That's a good one. That's a real
So
good one.
we can preface. Talking about law. We can preface that. When we talk about the laws and legislation, and then get into crimes and then punishments and.
But it goes back to electing people who do what we want in terms of laws and punishment.
Yeah, they don't understand that we with our votes hire and fire people. And I'm gonna leave that right there.
Yes.
I'm just gonna leave it right there.
Yeah, but I wonder, like, some of these laws that we talked about, they're silly, they're crazy, they're funny. how did they? Can you imagine going up to someone? Hey, I just want to make it illegal that if my husband doesn't give me a birthday gift, he goes to jail. You know?
Yeah.
It could have been a lot of domestic violence. Something had
Over
to
it.
occur.
And that's what I think
Multiple
leads
times.
to a law.
Yeah.
And this is just me. I'm not a lawyer, not a politician, but a person sees a need, they come up with a law, and then it gets passed. But
that's why they were making it illegal to marry children. Remember one time in the United States, men were marrying young women, but then you had to get your parents' permission or had to be a certain age because they were taking advantage of these younger girls. It was like child abuse.
Well, yeah, because when I was doing my family genealogy, and I found out that, you know, my grandmother had her first child at 15, but she was married to somebody that was 8, 9 years older than her.
Wow. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Wow.
You know,
Yeah.
so you know.
my grandma was 16, and she married my grandpa, who was in his 30s.
See.
Yeah.
And that was legal.
My grandma was 16. She had my mom.
So so this was interesting.
But my granddad
this was really good.
Go ahead, Ronisha.
My granddad was also 16.
Two kids. I don't know about that.
Wait.
Married.
They loved each other.
No, they did. My grandma said she did not want to marry him. They made her marry him.
And back then they would make you.
Because she was pregnant.
Yeah.
You could not have a child out of wedlock.
Well, like my son was born in 1977, and that was the thing between not so much my father, because it was my mother told my father that I was pregnant. But anyway, but between my mother and my son's mother, they got together and they were at me and they said, you know, and you're gonna get married? And I'm like, I don't want to get married. Now, I love my son's father. I tell my son all the time, you are a love baby. Okay?
Oh,
he really
sweet.
is. But baby, I was 19 years old, you know, and I did not want, because I was on a path, okay, you know, and that's in another podcast. You hear my story, you know, but I was on a path that I had for myself, that I saw for myself, and it was not being married.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, but anyway, all right then. This was really, really good.
Is there last one, like a last hurrah? That's a good one, talking about children.
Okay, let's talk about this one. Thank you, Suzanne. I didn't see that one.
Last hurrah.
Okay, like in the state. So let's talk. Now we're in the state of Florida. They're special down there, but okay, let's talk about this. Let's talk about the state of Florida. It is illegal. It's illegal to sell your children.
Isn't that illegal everywhere? Okay. Actually, it is a
federal law.
But the state of Florida wanted to enforce it further and made it a state law as well. I wonder why.
They were selling the children.
And think about the state of Florida, how it is bordered by water. Okay, I'm just thinking outside the box. You know, with somebody from. I mean,
I know what you're saying.
Maybe it'd be easier, you know, to not be able to track that person because they can, you know, get where she I'm just thinking about the water.
I followed you.
I
was following you, but you went somewhere different.
Okay,
I thought you were talking about.
But anyway.
But I thought you meant because Florida borders a lot of foreign countries, Cuba, and I thought maybe
I'm just thinking about tracing a child, you know what I'm saying? Okay. Somebody can take
sell it and it's far. Let me tell you this. This is a true story. I know someone. I work with this person in California, and years later, you know how you find someone and then you find someone, let me see how this person is doing from years ago. Mm-hmm. So I found this friend, she was my friend, that in California, she got arrested in, I believe, short time for selling babies.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
I was like, oh my gosh, I knew this person. Like I knew this person. I didn't know when she was doing that. This was years after I left. But yeah, interesting. Anyhow.
Anyway.
She didn't get Kevin.
Looking at your baby.
Right.
Anyway.
I'm going to start a business.
Okay, one more funny one. in the state of Oklahoma, you can't make ugly faces at dogs.
Oh, I saw that.
At dogs?
At dogs.
And then it went further where you cannot make any face to a dog. It said.
Wow.
Why?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Somebody made a face at somebody's dog and they got mad and went to the courthouse and who
Okay,
knows?
so now I'm back to the question. Okay, the punishment fitting the crime.
The senator who put that law should be like
fired.
yes.
Okay.
That's silly. But anyhow, that's
Okay.
a good, that's,
Must be a dog lover.
let's do a non-funny face to the dogs and just love the puppies.
Okay.
Okay. Well, that's great. Awesome.
This was an awesome episode. Thanks for joining us. We hope that
Thanks,
you were able
everybody.
to find some laughter here and there. Some, maybe you're picking up your phones and doing some Google searches and
Yeah.
looking about these crazy laws.
Okay, what's a good hashtag, you guys? Let's think of something.
3 voices, hashtag 3 voices unfiltered crazy laws.
Keep it simple. I like simple.
Crazy
okay.
laws.
All right, that's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
All right, thank you
Catch
guys.
you next time.
See you next
Bye.
time. Bye, guys.